And now, once again, we meet at the gate, ready to welcome in the fresh energies of the Chinese New Year, marking the arrival of the Yang Fire Horse. I am so excited to officially step into these energies on February 17th, 2026. And we're here today to tune into what is being offered to us energetically that we can tune in as tools, signs, symbols, belief systems, stories, and understandings that collectively we bring together, imbuing them with our belief, with our energy, the intention that we put behind it. And this is one beautiful way to tune into these energies. So this video is going to talk a little bit about the origins of Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year. We're going to talk about it symbolically across many different places in the world. There's going to be timestamps below so you can navigate around as you're guided. We're going to talk about this particular year of the Fire Horse. What does it mean for us collectively? What does it mean for you individually? There is a document that I'll be putting together that you can see the link to here below in the description, where much more information will be provided with determining your personal Chinese zodiac sign, your element, and your messages for this year, as well as links to all of the many resources that I'm leaning into here as an enthusiast to bring this to you. So, to get started, we mark here the return of the Fire Horse in the Chinese Zodiac Astrology. And it's bringing in an energetic combination that has long been associated with movement, intensity, and decisive change. Even outside of myth or mysticism, the symbolism of the Fire Horse is fairly straightforward and powerful. I'm giving you this image. The gate is open. We are readying ourselves to take off into this new energy. So the Fire Horse comes forward here where momentum increases, where people are feeling a stronger urge to act, and where life tends to move faster than usual. Now, of course, in Chinese astrology, the horse is a symbol of independence, travel, vitality, personal drive. It's associated with motion, confidence, and the desire for freedom. That horse does not like to be constrained. So whether we're talking by routine, authority, or outdated expectations. So when we've added in here the element of fire, that desire becomes more urgent and visible. Fire representing passion, clarity, courage, and expression. And it brings things into the open and tends to speed up whatever it touches. So as we stand here in the second month of this new calendar year, we might step back and look around at our smaller stages in our lives, out onto the big stage in the worldview, and see how these energies have surely been ramping up, heating up. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of those things, how this is coming into play astrologically with some very significant energies that are happening at the same time as the Fire Horse arrival. But let's look back a little bit over some high-level guidance around the Lunar New Year and how we can connect in with that energy. So I bring here some guidance that is coming in from a Chinese medicine practitioner. And again, the references, the links to all of their full articles are all in the document that you can find below in the description. Of course, I'm certainly no expert on Chinese astrology and the Lunar New Year. So I really enjoy learning all about different beliefs, our collective stories, and the origins through which we can tap into these tools. And I'm always amazed, it never gets old, how streamlined they all are, how many synchronicities there are. And we're going to talk about that. Because as we move into this lunation that's happening here at the same time, a very powerful new moon solar eclipse known as the Ring of Fire happening in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the collective, of the future, of humanity and innovation. of freedom, so does the fire horse enter into the picture. So this is all so aligned with 2026 being a year one. I'll talk a little bit about that, bringing in the energies of the magician in the tarot, all about being creators and co-creators with spirit, all happening here in the age of Aquarius. So it's so beautifully aligning here with this yang fire horse. Now, one thing to mention here is we refer to it on one hand as the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. And really, some of the information that I'm sharing was speaking to all of the different customs around the world can really vary. And so referring to it as the Asian Lunar New Year being observed in its own unique and non-Chinese ways, as many other Asian cultures can also bringing in some very traditional belief systems as well. And it ties in with religions and customs and entire nations pausing for these energies of the new year. So it's very rich in its history and the way in which things are determined in terms of the zodiac animals, the elements, and the colors. And because of all of that variety, that's the reason why these different specific year and the specific color and elements of the animals happen every 60 years. It takes 60 years to move fully through that system. So that is where we find ourselves now as we step into this particular year arriving as the Yang fire horse. So bringing in this guidance from the Chinese medicine practitioner, Dr. Angela Palmer, providing us with an overview of the Chinese zodiac and bringing in a note there, just unlike our Western astrology, it's not predictive. It does not follow the planetary alignments, but rather it looks more at the climate or the flow, feel of the year. So, depending on the animal sign that you correspond to, according to your year of birth, again, check out my document below. You can look at that zodiac to determine your animal, the 12-year cycle, which is based on Jupiter's 12-year journey around the sun. So, of course, last year and all the way through to this moment, it was the wood snake. And indeed, it was a year where many illusions about our reality were shed, are shedding, right? Globally as well as personally. And perhaps in this process, many people have begun to question what is really important in life: wealth or health, independence and family, work obligations, personal needs. And perhaps you found some surprises along the way about what you've learned about yourself in this last year. What was revealed with each layer of those skins being shed from the wood snake energy? And so this will indeed be useful as we step into this fiery year ahead, because it's laid that groundwork, the necessary preparations for what's going to combust, so to speak, here with this energy of the fire horse. So, having laid the ground for understanding your soul self and all that you can be, and then with caution and temperance, able to break free of those old constraints and be joyfully in your true, authentic essence. And so that begins within and then radiates out into our collective. So this is ushering in a year of rapid change because the horse is enterprising, energetic, enthusiastic, loyal, but if overworked, will become stressed, anxious, careless, and impatient. So, this fire element is really amping it up. Try to stay alert and sharp in the midst of these changes that will be happening all around you. And so this is going to help you to make the right choice in a year that is said to be presenting often so many opportunities that we need to be quick on our feet and open hearted in our making of decisions from that centered sovereign place. This is also something we were prepared for last year, along with the wood snake. 2025 was a 9 frequency year, which correlated with the energies of the hermit in the tarot, which was all about going within, hermiting, retreating into your own inner wisdom. So you see, again, beautifully aligned in these different systems that we can tap into for our own insight, guidance, awareness, and empowerment. So, feeling into that, what sits right for you? If your heart is in it, and you will get to galloping on down that path. Once you make that decision, things shift very quickly. Now, it is also very important to temper the often frenetic energy of this year with calm centeredness. So, we want to lock in time to be in nature, taking walkabouts, meditation, regular physical practices. What works for you? Breathing exercises, yoga, qigong, swimming. These are all really great practices to get that energy moving and come back into your center. Really paying attention to your nervous system. You might have heard that. That has been the buzzwords of 2026 so far. And that's in part due to all of the Aquarian energy we've been in. That is all about the nervous system and the way that all of these energies that are moving and shifting and filtering through us are impacting our physical vessel. So, really getting back into that center, sheltering you from the internet, from the doom scrolling, all of the energies that are vying for your attention. Because if you find yourself getting too caught up in what's happening out there, put yourself out to the paddock whenever you're feeling overwrought. So, stepping away and coming back to center. And as I mentioned, this year is a numerological 1 year because those numbers of 2026 add up to a 10, which again, 110 in numerology is endings, the 10, wholeness, completion, to the 1, a new beginning. Since last year we had the 9, that was all about endings culminating and graduating and calling for perseverance and resilience in the face of so many things that were wrapping up abruptly, coming to an end, all while those skins were shedding. So now this year, as a 1 or a 10, again, as you're going to hear in different systems, it's a year of new beginnings and co-creating with the universe. So, beginning to imagine that peaceful future centered on the heart space, speaking your truth, and not in the intention of being right or to make others wrong, but to be true to yourself. So, those are some insights coming in from that particular resource that I was tapping into. And now, of course, Forever Conscious and the Guidance of Tanaz is a favorite of mine when it comes to dabbling in with all of these tools and bringing together all of these wonderful synchronicities. So each year, I love looking into this lens to see what energies are at play. And as I say, and as I'm bringing forward here, it's always so amazing how close they are with what's happening in Western astrology and these energies as well. So I want to share a little bit of those insights as well. Of course, there's a lot of overlap because there is so much consistency and synchronicity here. So as we're entering into this year of the Yang Fire Horse, with Chinese astrology, February 17th, all happening with the Ring of Fire solar eclipse, as I mentioned, we move into this year of the Yang Fire Horse. Now, the Yang Fire Horse brings a bold, bright, fast moving energy. Yang energy manifesting in our external world, which means we're going to feel and see examples of that fiery energy all around us. We may be seeing more people leading with their passions, making leaps of faith, starting daring entrepreneurial projects. And at the same time, we might be seeing more conflict, aggression, and anger playing out on the world stage. This is a year where things are feeling accelerated. If you feel that things have been very stagnated and stunted and slow moving, uh, it's coming around the corner where it's very quickly heating up. Others of us I know have been feeling that quickening and maybe some restlessness. So this is touching on all of the different ways that we're all perceiving of these energies in our unique and individual timing. But as things become more accelerated, decisions may come faster. Emotions may burn hotter. And there may be less tolerance for stagnation or delay. So, the invitation of the Yang fire horse is to move and make progress, but to do so consciously. And it's interesting here to note that in Western astrology, we have three major planets entering into fire signs in 2026, with Saturn, Neptune both entering Aries. We've talked about that quite a bit here in my world over on the Empowerment Sharecast and in our weekly readings. Jupiter entering Leo. So we have now the South Node shifting into Leo, as well as adding to this lineup of fiery energy. So, lions, horses, it's all coming, it's all lighting up here. Because when we understand this fire energy, first in our own lives, all this fiery energy around us, it's a good time for us to check in with how the quality of fire manifests in your own life. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of the fire elemental here, just because I want to bring in some of that aura energy as we talk about the action that is available to be taken here within. So I'm infusing in the guidance that's coming through with this fire elemental and looking towards our own lives for some guidance there. So, with all this fiery energy, checking in with how that manifests in our own lives. Do you feel that you are a fiery person? And if not, what are some healthy ways to bring more fiery energy into your world? If you're naturally fiery, where might you need to taper off, slow down, or soften your approach? Because fire is not just about intensity or action, it's about vitality, courage, passion, and purpose. And when fire is balanced, it fuels us without burning us out. When it's imbalanced, it can show up as frustration, impatience, exhaustion, or explosive emotions. So perhaps a helpful reflection for this year is to notice where the fire feels depleted in your own life and where it may already be burning too strongly. So bringing in some balance and what balanced fire might look like. So this would be something like being able to stand up for yourself, having the motivation to follow your dreams and goals, maintaining balanced energy levels throughout the day, feeling passion, desire, and creative spark, feeling your inner flame alight and purposeful, giving anger a healthy outlet rather than bottling it up, speaking from the heart while also being able to listen, going for what you want while considering the consequences. So, if you're looking to instill more of these qualities into your life, this year of the Yang Fire Horse will be on your side. You can work with those energies and it will help you to reignite and sustain your inner fire. Now, how do we put our fire to work in the outer world? This Yang quality of Fire Horse indicates that we may have a lot of support coming in energetically to make things happen in the external world. And this is not so much about nurturing our inner fire, but more about going out there and putting our fire to work for us. We're encouraged to go after our goals, act on our impulses, and take real, tangible steps towards where we want to be. Sometimes fiery energy can be reflective, but in 2026, that's not really the case. This is a year that favors action. So, if you've been waiting for a sign, for permission, or a moment where everything feels perfectly aligned, the fire horse reminds us that momentum often comes after we move, not before. So, we take a small intentional step forward and ignite that flame, and then it takes off. So be thinking about what small actions you might wish to take in order to get that going. Now, of course, what would be better to embody adventure, freedom, and expansion than the horse spirit? The horse is in Chinese astrology closely connected with our Western zodiac of Sagittarius, to make a comparison. So the horse is brave, bold, graceful. It values freedom, exploration, and the desire to navigate uncharted territory. So, in a horse year, we may find ourselves being more adventurous, open to trying new things and expanding our horizons in meaningful ways. And this may show up for you as travel, study, spiritual exploration, or just simply saying yes to experiences that stretch you beyond what's familiar, stepping outside of that comfort zone. And again, lining up with the numerology of 2026 as a number 1 year, which is all about new beginnings. It starts at one. And we're encouraged here to make fresh starts, to try new ways of being, and to expand what we thought was possible. So, as this comes out into our relationships, community, our social expansion, the horse brings a very social energy. It loves to be around others, longs to share its story, connect over shared interests, and gather with others to problem solve, dream, and philosophize. So, if you've been looking to expand your social circle, or if there's a project that you wish to get off the ground, networking and collaboration are strongly supported this year as well. The fire horse favors visibility, introductions, and meaningful connections. So, this would be a very powerful year to introduce yourself to new people, to collaborate, make new friends, and start new romantic relationships for some as well. So, it's really bringing in a supportive time to revamp not just the new relationships, but revamp our existing relationships that have perhaps grown stale or strained. The year of the fire horse offers an opportunity to rekindle passion, honesty, emotional warmth. Small gestures, open conversations, shared adventures can all go a long way. Now, challenges, growth, and staying open minded come to the fore as well in the fire horse energy because that promises motivation, forward momentum, but will also bring these challenges because horses are hardworking and we're going to be asked to be the same. We may need some stamina, resilience, and patience to push through obstacles and face what has been avoided. With fire energy running strong, tensions can rise quickly. So we may find that we have little patience for situations, patterns, or relationships that no longer align with our growth. And while this can be clarifying, it's important to remain mindful of getting stuck in rigid or outdated ways of thinking. Staying curious, flexible, open minded will all help us to navigate the intensity of this year with greater ease. How does this come in with health, healing, and inner strength? Horse years can be a positive sign for health matters. The energy of the yang horse can provide strength, endurance, and vitality, helping us to push through the ongoing struggles. The fire quality of the horse can also fuel us to ask better questions, to advocate for ourselves, to explore alternative healing paths. So, this is a year to really trust your instincts, follow your intuition, do your own research. And sometimes the answers we're seeking arrive in unexpected forms, places, or conversations. But most importantly, there, to not back down from seeking the care, support, or information that you feel called toward. So you feel the spark, you feel the initiation, and then you move into action, right? See it through, right? So, just some closing reflections here on this year of the fire horse. The year of the Yang Fire Horse invites us to live with more courage, passion, and intention. It's a year that asks us to move forward boldly, speak honestly, and act on what feels alive within us. Because when we work consciously with fire, it becomes a source of warmth, clarity, and creative power, not destruction. And by honoring both action and awareness, this year can help us to reignite our purpose, strengthen our connections, and move closer to the life we truly want to live. So let your fire guide you, but let it be a flame that illuminates, not one that consumes. Beautiful. I hope you find a lot of resonance in that as you roll forward into this year. Let's take a look now at some information and origins around the Lunar New Year. So here is some guidance coming from a blog spot that again provided in our document here from David Victor Vector, sharing some of the background to the year of the horse specifically, but the Asian zodiac system as a whole. And he has a ton of information. I am just dipping my toe in, circling the horses around here to take a look at what is coming through for us to connect in with. So the Asian zodiac, just touching on that, associated with Asian or Chinese New Year, is, as I mentioned, taken very seriously by those who follow it in their tradition. The significance that's attributed here to the combinations associated with the Asian horoscope affect business decisions, dates that are selected for important events such as weddings, and many other aspects of daily life. And these views are widely shared with a larger following than any single religion, Western or Eastern. And as a result, these beliefs are to be treated with the respect accorded to a religious belief rather than those that may be looked at as a superstition or the way that sometimes Western astrology is treated, which again, I think is an opportunity for us to pause and observe all of the different collective beliefs that are imbued meaning and intention that we can tap into. So, specifically here with the lunar calendar, the Asian lunar calendar follows the moon. So, it seems to move within our solar based Gregorian calendar. However, our Gregorian calendar does not correspond fully with the Asian lunar calendar. So, this is where we have a lot of different overlaps and different starts and stops when it comes to new year, calendar year, new lunar year, as we are marking here. And upcoming soon in March, we will have the new astrological year with the return in the Western zodiac to Aries. So here in the lunar calendar, we've got February 17th marking the beginning of the Asian lunar new year. And this one being the year of the horse, as we've just been touching on. So, last year, January 29th was the last day of the year. And yet this year it's February 17th. So again, it's rolling through following the lunar calendar. Now, we talked about the wood snake, we're talking about the fire horse. So this is all correlating with the lunar calendar running on a cycle of 12 years that are represented by an animal. The animals all have a balance of compatibility or incompatibility that's represented in their place in the circle of this 12-year cycle. This year is the year of the horse. So, with the 12 animals of the zodiac, they are the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, monkey, rooster, dog, or pig. And each animal corresponds to a month of the lunar year. The horse, this year's animal, is corresponding to the seventh animal in the cycle of the 12. Now, they add to that the 5 elements. So, additionally, each 12-year cycle of animals runs on an additional cycle that corresponds here with the 5 traditional Chinese elements. And they are metal, fire, wood, water, and earth. The 5 elements or earthly branches are in balance with each other as the basis of much of feng shui as well. Each element is also associated with a color. So in the case of fire, that color is red. Now combined, each element comes in here with an animal over a 60-year period. So this is what I was saying. In order to move through all of the elements, the animals, and the colors, we're looking at 60 years to come full cycle. And so now bringing in the horse with the element of fire, this year is the year of the red fire horse. So now, many followers of the Asian zodiac have formal religious beliefs in the importance of the animal element combinations associated with each year in this 60-year cycle. And this is definitely the case for those practicing, for example, Taoism, as well as other beliefs. And it gets into some really fascinating mythos and stories around the Jade Emperor, known as the King of Heaven. Now, if you've been with me over on our Empowerment Sharecast in February, we're doing all of our collective week ahead card pulls from the Storyteller's Tarot. And what's really cool is in that deck, a number of the different major arcana cards, the pentacle suit, are all correlated with the Chinese zodiac. So we've touched on a couple of these stories, how some of these animals came to have their place in the zodiac wheel. And we're also going to be doing pick a cards and messages coming forward here on the other side of this video from the Chinese 5-element oracle, which is such as the fire horse card that you see here. So, we've been tapping into this already this month, but we look here to, references to the Jade Emperor, and in the Taoist tradition, those 12 animals were in a contest to greet the Jade Emperor. There was a 13th animal, as a matter of fact, the cat, who was tricked by the rat. And there's 5 different variations of that story, but that explains why cats have hated rats ever since. So it's really neat. If you do check out the references, there's a children's story that gets into that and some other goodies. It's hard to pick what to share and what to leave for you to explore because there's just so much. Of course, the new year is a religious event in a great number of sects of Buddhism, most famously for Tibetan Buddhists. The Buddhist tradition, the 12 animals were in a race to do honor to Lord Buddha on the eve of his death. So the rat and cat story is a part of that tradition too. So very interesting the way that all of this correlates, where we can see how our collective shared stories, mythos, beliefs are all informing from our past to our present and can be utilized in building our future. Further, there's Confucianism, which is not technically a religion, but a philosophical system. And those followers also traditionally observe Lunar New Year to show reverence to their ancestors. And because of this, even Christians and practitioners of other faiths in such countries as Korea or Vietnam generally celebrate this holiday. And that holds true for people in those cultures with strong Confucian customs who've had no religion at all, or for those with mixed traditions. So again, I just see here a beautiful system of belief and tradition that we can all tap into to inform us in the way that we are navigating this year ahead. I hope that you have enjoyed these messages and find them to be interesting and synchronistic with experiences that you have already begun experiencing or surely will be as we step through the open gate into this new lunar year of the fire horse, promoting rapid change, action, speed, freedom, vitality, and movement, all while that fire element represents enthusiasm and passion. So as we step into this eclipse portal, allow the influence of all these energies to embody more boldness in your life. So here we close out with the message of the fire horse for effortless vitality, coming to you from the Chinese 5 Elements Oracle. And I invite you to join me over in my free Empowerment Sharecast, where I will also be offering a pick a card for the Lunar New Year in the coming days, where you can choose the card or cards that are speaking to you for a very special message. Also, be sure to catch the caption here for all of the resources, offers, and more that I've mentioned throughout this video, including the link to the Sharecast, the resource document I've put together, and the very special New Moon Empowerment reading that is available now. If you wish to join me, it's a video recorded reading where we get into all of the astrological weather around these huge events that we're stepping into with the Lunar New Year and this eclipse portal. I offer a new moon ritual, as well as card pulls and messages for the collective. And part 2 is your personal reading around this new moon energy, stepping into eclipse, and you will also receive some extra special lunar new year messages. So check that out if you're interested in connecting more comprehensively. Now, to close out with our fire horse for effortless vitality, card 43, 4 and 3, giving us 7 in numerology, which is a very mystical number, but also connects in with card 7 of the tarot, the Chariot, featuring 2 horses ready to move forward, pulling that charioteer. It is you stepping into that driver's seat, getting into the saddle of your life as you step into this new year, and bringing together both the light and shadow to work for you, not ripping you out of the stables. So this is all about paced, steady movement and momentum. And it's an enthusiastic message coming in from the divine, telling you you are on fire. You're being noticed for your positivity and passion for what you do. So stay focused on what brings you happiness and let the inner joy that has inspired so many others be the fuel to living your purpose. The universe will always reward your light and generosity with more abundance and a continuous supply of energy. Manage that precious gift. Burn off excess energy with physical activities, and remember to slow down and rest every now and then to recharge and recenter. So this energy is trotting in here to encourage you to follow your excitement, stoke that fire within, embrace what you love, and say yes to new experiences, to discover more joys, that they may open new doors that lead to an even higher purpose, sending you an abundance of love, luck, success, and many, many blessings in this new lunar year. Much love.